with. So that's the danger. So that's why I talk about this so frequently. But man, it's almost to a man. I mean, it's the rare guy that isn't totally deluding himself. And I mean, you, you almost could just, I hate to even say this, but and I've never said anything, and shame on me. Thanks for the people that join as a member on my channel. I didn't even know that existed or was a possibility. That's how dense I am. And I looked down, and this is like months ago, and I had like my first dozen or so channel members, and I'm like, what the heck? I mean, that's really cool. But somebody would think so much of like following my little journey and my content and whatever, and they would pay a subscription fee. I think it's like $2 a month or something. You can set it to whatever you want. When I set up my channel, I set it to the minimum dollar that YouTube would allow. If they'd allow me to make it $1 a month, I would have. But you can only make it like $2 in some cents or something per month. So I did that. You can set the member benefits, and I set them to as much as I could, or at least that I understood how to do. So the channel members get, they always can look at next week's video ahead of time, so they're always a week ahead of everybody else. And they get like a badge that identifies them as a member, and they get the priority on comments. Their comments tend to go to the top and like that kind of stuff or whatever. So, but thank you to those people. That's such a huge compliment that somebody would think enough to do that. So mucho apreciado. Today's content comes from some time I spent recently, just actually last week, with an expat, and it was just interesting. He was a new guy to Thailand, a noob, you could say, and we're all a noob at one point. And what he was saying was extremely consistent to what pretty much every other noob says and how they interact with Thai women, the Thai people, and other expats and whatnot. And it was just kind of interesting. And we all fall victim to this. I've done it, and there's the occasional really sharp guy that doesn't fall into this trap. I wasn't one of those guys, but I've known a few. But they're few and far between. And the trap is that the overwhelming majority of guys that come here tend to have this presumption that Thailand is this magical unicorn place, and that these young and smoking hot and model pretty Thai women, even beautiful young, really young, beautiful ladies that are fully eligible to date a Thai man, which that's a whole other thing. I've got a couple of videos on that. That's really important for you to understand, by the way. That those women, the most eligible of all Thai women, will still want them, despite their being in their mid-60s. I'm 61, okay? So despite being in our 60s, despite most of us being way out of shape, and fitness isn't a big thing here, as I'm always saying, but being way out of shape is not like this magical unicorn land theory that we all tend to fall prey to. That isn't true. That isn't like, oh, wow, look at that, way out of shape guy over there. Boy, he's hot. Nobody says that. Like, back home, your neighbor, whether it's a man or a woman, your relative, any other person is recently divorced, because you can immediately tell that they got a new haircut, they've cleaned themselves up. If it's a guy, all of a sudden he's shaving, he's gone from a big rough mountain man beard to a well-trimmed goatee that makes him look like a bad guy in a James Bond film or something, or whatever. You see that. If it's a woman, all of a sudden she's got her expensive hairdo, her nails are fresh, and she's lost 15 pounds. We all get that. So I don't know why that when we come here, we assume, again, this magical unicorn fictitious idea of Thailand, that's no longer true here. Okay, that is, and let me tell you, that's not just still true here, it's 500% more true here than back in the West. In the Detroit area, it's a thing for a guy to do like kind of that grunge thing, that northwestern United States, so with Seattle, that's a look, a popular look. But you see me when I come here, shave every day, haircut. I've kept the 50 pounds off that I lost. That's hard. I mean, now it's easy. Now, I'll tell you, it's easy. Now I'm like, I used to be jealous of those guys that weren't fat when I was fat, and other people weren't, and they go to breakfast with them, and they'd have the 3-egg plate with bacon and stuff, and I do that, but that's my one meal of the day. The difference back when I was fat was that was breakfast, then I had lunch, then I had dinner, and I had at least 2 snacks in between. Well, that's why I was 50 pounds overweight. But in my head, I wasn't connecting those super obvious dots. I don't know why, but I wasn't. Okay, so back to this point. So you're there's this concept that we come here, and Thailand is this magic unicorn place where smoking hot women want to date scruffy, out-of-shape old men. That's not true. That's really not true. Now, are they economically oppressed? Are they in the number 2 seat in a male-dominated culture? Yeah. So are they hungrier and more seeking of companionship and support? And women tend to get financial support from their guys. This is not news. Back home, I have several friends who are really rich. Would you care to know how smoking hot and young their wives are? Do I need to draw a map? I mean, the world works a certain way. The world works. I don't want to burst anybody's bubble here. Another danger is they'll allow you to play in this market, regardless of the other factors about yourself other than money. The problem is it won't be genuine. And you're going to care that it's genuine when you get sick. You're going to care if it's genuine when you got to go to the hospital. You're going to eventually care if it is genuine. I mean, there's I don't know how to define it, but there's a thing that you don't really want to care what other people say and think about you and say about you. And I get some hatred directed my way because people are jealous, and then people are jealous of Fawn, and they direct hatred at her or at me because Fawn's life has now been massively elevated and all that. And I don't care about that. But on the other hand, I would care if it turned out, and I know it's not, but by example, if it did care that I was with somebody and that lady just was laughing at me totally behind my back and just scamming me for money the whole time. Even though I didn't know the difference for, say, in theory, 2 or 3 years we were together, and then eventually I found out, that would hurt my feelings. And that would also betray the underlying truth that I have no actual care coming my way when the chips actually do go down. And when you're an older guy, and especially when you're overseas, which means that 99.9% people around you aren't your friend, you need to make sure that the couple of people that you're counting on, and there might literally be only 1 or 2 or 3 people over here. A lot of guys have literally their Thai wife and that's it, that they could actually maybe count on. I have maybe a little bit, I do have a little bit more support than that, but that's been my engagement and immersion in the culture, and that's been my choice, and it's become a hobby for me, passes the time, helps keep me from losing what brain cells I'm already losing. I can't spend all my time thinking about beer, whiskey, motorcycles, and good cigars. I mean, I got to actually do something productive from time to time for my brain, and all that. But again, this whole concept of oh wait, I had the microphone backwards. I was close to it, but still, that's not right. This concept that we tend to fall into. You really need to look at yourself dispassionately. There's a well-known principle in psychology. You can look it up and find a channel on this and resolve this in your mind to your own satisfaction. But as humans, we tend to grossly overestimate ourselves. From a bodybuilding standpoint, I can tell you, if any of me and my friends go and get a good pump on and lose maybe a kilogram or 2 of fat, and we're looking maybe a hair better and look in front of the mirror and try and assess how we're doing, in my mind, for me as an example, I'll have a certain picture of how well I am or am not doing. But if I have a friend take a photo of me, I pretty much never look quite as good as I'm thinking that I maybe look. You understand? And it's the same thing. My tie is never going to be as good as maybe I think it might be, to the other person listening to me. The other poor unfortunate bastard that's trying to communicate with this American living over here. It's those things. When we make a joke, it's generally not as funny as we tend to think it is in our own mind. And so that's a whole separate thing, but when you're assessing yourself, I think that factor really deploys and really comes into play in a big way. And you want to really try to assess for yourself where you're at. And if you're going to, again, the social engagement that overwhelmingly screws the guys up over here is the dating and the marrying. It's not that you had a friend and your friend turned out to be a jerk. that didn't really cause you to lose hundreds of thousands of baht of your retirement money or build a house on his land or something because he was your pal. We don't do those things for our pals. We do those things for the women that we get romantically and intimately involved with. So that's the danger. So that's why I talk about this so frequently. But man, it's almost to a man. I mean, it's the rare guy that isn't totally deluding himself. And I mean, you almost could just, I hate to even say this, but kind of a harsh example is, if you're with a lady and you take a photo together, look at the photo and, do you look like her grandfather? Do you look like her dad? Is she super put together and wearing really a nice outfit and clothes and her hair, makeup, nails are done and she's trim and she's young and very pretty and all that. And she's allowed you to take this picture with her and take her to dinner. You were wearing baggy cargo shorts, flip-flops into a nice restaurant, which you generally wouldn't do, and a muscle shirt, sleeveless, vacation beach sunbathing shirt or something. And if she cared that little about your appearance and you went to a nice restaurant together, the odds that that's a genuine relationship do start to go down. I'm not going to say, oh my gosh, she's a scammer. How do I know? But I'm just saying, in a legitimate relationship, a Thai woman would never let her Thai husband go out like that, not without some kind of conversation. Fawn never does that with me because the reason is Fawn has tied her saving a face to having a good cultural husband. That'd be me. And she's saying she cares for me genuinely. I can tell that because I know people in our periphery and I know them, and I don't know everyone, but I know enough of them, and I know what's being said and what's going on to a level that I'm comfortable. Okay, doesn't matter about me, but for yourself, think about that. So I know that Fawn is saving face by the support that she gets from me, how her life has been elevated, and then she has saved face back by showing what a good traditional Thai Isan cultural young lady she is by caring for me, professing her actual feelings and emotions for me, and all this goes to support. Yesterday, I kind of burned myself out a little bit. I rode my motorcycle to the city and back. I exercised. I recently had a medical treatment that wiped me out a little bit. And I was also naughty, and I had just a light beer, which I'm a lightweight guy these days, and all that really just. I'm 61 years old. It wiped me out, and I came home yesterday at 3:00 in the afternoon. I laid down, I fell asleep. My point is, Fawn has been on me all morning. Rob, take it easy today. Don't ride the motorcycle. Take the car. And I haven't been to her work. I'm at her work, one of her workplaces. I haven't been here in it's been a few weeks. I've been busy. Supervising the house. There's kind of a lot going on at the house right now, so kind of critical phases on a few things there. I'm waiting for a few more things to come together, and they'll be more meaningful. So probably another couple of weeks, and I'll shoot another big. I think that'll be the fourth, big update video, and there'll be a fifth one, and when it's all done and furnished, and that's going to be it. Anyways, so her saving a face has been by how she's tied with me and how she's showing she's a good cultural person by doing all these things because I'm good to her. That's like one way they'll do it, but I'm in the lucky, rare, unfortunately tiny minority of the older foreign guys here with a younger lady getting this treatment. Not that I'm bragging about how great my life is or something. I put the time in. I came here, and I told you before, in shit shape. I looked terrible. I felt terrible. I was in 24-hour pain. I spoke only basic Thai, where's the bathroom, and, Hong Nam, Yu Ti Nai, stuff like that. Now, 3 years of, more than 3.5 years of hard work later and focus, I've improved all these things, but I put the time in versus I could have gone 5 hours a day, 5 days, 6 days a week at the local pub and had my regular bar stool waiting for me. And a lot of, and that's fine. If somebody wants to do that, I'm not saying they're a bad guy or anything. I'm just saying don't expect a lot of progress and improvement in your life if you're not actually doing any work. That's an obvious statement. I don't think I need to make that. We all understand that by this point. And some guys are tired. They just want to rest on their laurels. They worked hard their whole life. They're exhausted. They're mentally exhausted. They're spent. And they just want to sit back. And they love sipping a beer and sitting and chatting with other expats. And that, hey, that's fine. That's fine. But if you're going to do that, just don't feel automatically entitled to be dating some smoking hot 15 or 20 year younger, 25 year, 30 year younger lady there's virtually no probability that she's going to regard you on an equitable basis and actually care about you. And as your health fails, like for me, as an example, pick on myself versus picking on somebody else, as my health fails and I have more health challenges, which I'm only going to get more every year. I mean, I've had a recently successful surgery, which has helped. Again, there's no cure for a broken back. It's still broken. It's got, I think, 18 pieces of titanium in my spine or something. I mean, it's ridiculous. I mean, and none of that is healthy. In the inevitable future, Fawn will continue to care more and more for me. I had just yesterday, I was being the kind of emotional support and doing some translation for a friend of mine having a medical procedure yesterday in the city of Korat, and a couple of the nurses, one in particular, was really flirting with me. Hey, where do you live? What are you doing? What are you doing later today? But she's probably 30 and quite pretty. There's always a small chance she could be seriously interested in an older guy such as myself, but odds are low. Odds are low. More than likely, that would turn into more of a financial kind of a thing only. Again, finances will always be like the solid bedrock of your relationship with almost any woman, whether it's an American woman or a Thai woman, in my experience. But man, if that's the only thing they're getting from you, it's pretty well known. You go to any other channel, go to find somebody who's like legit, like a psychologist or a psychiatrist who's got a great reputation in talking about this kind of stuff, and listen to them. They 100% will tell you the same thing. A relationship that's only about money is not going to work. You cannot buy your way into someone's loyalty. You cannot purchase loyalty from another human being. You can get services, but you cannot get loyalty. Loyalty is friends, and the way people are made, that's an emotional decision that the person makes for themselves. I will be loyal to this person because I care. I've got a couple of friends I'm loyal to. You try to hurt one of my friends, I'm walking down the street with them. I'm going to fully engage and risk that, stabbing or shooting right alongside them. There's no way. I'm thinking of one good friend of mine in particular at the moment. If we're walking down and someone were to attack him for some crazy reason, I mean, my friends are the nicest people on the planet. They don't think they have an enemy in the world. But for this example, I'd be right there. There's no way I'd leave them. I couldn't do that. We're dying right there on the sidewalk, I guess. I don't know what to tell you. I can't leave a friend like that. But that's a decision I made. If he pays me, even if he paid me, $10,000 a month, we're like, $10,000 a month, man. The guy's kind of a dick. Why does this guy want to shoot him? Maybe he's a bad guy. Maybe time for me to leave. You can't buy that from somebody. That's the problem with mercenaries, right? I mean, I don't have a moral problem with them particularly, but you never really know what kind of loyalty you bought, right? That's the age-old dilemma with mercenaries. Have been around for thousands of years, so as long as they've been fighting wars, and they're notoriously effective, unfortunately, but you never really quite get the loyalty, right? Not the same as a guy who's going to fight and die for his flag. It's not the same thing, I don't think. How'd we get on that subject? Sorry. But to try to wrap this up into some kind of coherent point. So when you're coming here, because my channel's generally geared around new guys coming here and planning their time, you've got to really be suspicious of any and everything you hear and see. I wouldn't believe anything anybody tells you. And I would take a very hard look at yourself before you come here, and every once in a while after you're here. And I would assess this concept of dating pay grade, what's fair and reasonable. And yeah, the Thai women are much hungrier for companionship and support than most Western women. So you do go up several notches. And a guy 65 that doesn't want to take care of himself, doesn't for some reason is morally opposed to shaving or a haircut or wearing a nice shirt for whatever reason that might be, fine. You can still date a 65-year-old guy. Could still easily date a woman in her early mid 50s. No problem. 10 years plus younger, not a problem. But if that woman is 10, 15 years younger, but she's not an ounce overweight, really pretty, really expensive haircut, beautiful bright red nails, and she's fantastic in bed. I'm going to give you one guess as to what her prior occupation was, and might still be. So you still have to be careful. But you're not really amongst your friends so much here. You're really on your own. I like that. I prepared my whole life for this by doing martial art. I studied martial arts through most of my adult life. And there's been one period in particular where I was kind of like a full-time student for quite a few years. So I kind of, and that isn't just your ability to control your immediate environment. It also goes to a mindset. It really is a psychological thing. It's a beautiful thing. I highly recommend it, by the way. If you're going to come here and if you like exercise, consider finding a good martial arts school and study and look up and listen to people who look at the mixed martial arts fighting. What arts in particular? There's certain arts that keep coming up over and over and over again as the base art in that. Those are obviously the better ones because they're not all the same. Some arts are almost kind of bullshit, in all honesty, and some are fantastic, right? Like, I'll tell you, like as an example, and I'm not a Muay Thai guy, so this isn't me bragging about what I've studied, but Muay Thai has come up as one of the better arts. Is it the best one? No, probably not. But is it one of the top 5 or 6? Highly likely. You could study Muay Thai and do real well for yourself. But the peace of mind it gives you, knowing if someone's going to throw some big, crazy, half-drunk haymaker punch at your head, you can slip that easily and maybe just put them down on the ground without having to actually cause a major head trauma and where you're arrested and have to hire a lawyer. You could put them down gently enough that it isn't too big a problem. That's a fantastic feeling to have as you walk around. And that self-confidence then spills over into how you deal with people you meet and how you speak and how you allow other people to treat you. And it's a wonderful thing. I will give a high recommend to that, by the way. But this idea of prepping and preparing before you come here is critical if you want to make this the best experience for you. And if you're coming here thinking of retiring, why not make it the best? You've worked hard for this. You've saved your whole life for it. And I'm sure at least a couple of people along the way have attempted or maybe were successful in stealing something from you or cheating you out of something, right? So whatever you finally got left after all your hard work, I tell you, my friend, enjoy it. Enjoy it to the absolute maximum you can. So start in the tourist areas, get your sea legs a little bit under you, and then move into a lower cost area if you can tolerate that. And even if you're a big nightlife guy and you want to run a bar tab and you want to meet and talk English all night, and that's cool. I get that. It's not a problem with that. Consider still, living 20 minutes outside a city that you like. If it's Hua Hin or Pattaya or Chiang Mai or something like that, more of a tourist area or an expat area, fine. But then consider living just outside of town a little bit. You'll probably find that same thing here in the Korat area. My cost of living is at least 30% lower than if I was in the city. And if I was, almost maybe even half in some cases. So it's a significant savings for me. And again, I'm not printing money in my basement. I am retired, and I've got 2 pensions that are nice, but not like insane or anything. So, that recent motorcycle thing was a big decision for me. It wasn't like, oh yeah, $1 million baht, that's chump change. No, that was a very big decision for me. But I decided that when I'm going to do my physical therapy or I'm going to meet a friend for coffee or going to go read a book somewhere, it's awesome riding a beautiful custom chopper style, drag bike style American motorcycle. It just feels so cool to me. I just enjoy it. That thing is a 2-wheel Shelby Cobra is exactly what that is, really. The Cobra would be great, but I don't exactly have that kind of money hanging out of my pocket. The motorcycle version of it, yeah, I can afford that. And that's fun. And it's easy to park. And keep it in mind, this isn't some magical place. You're going to find the same rules here apply back home. It's just everything is easier and at some significant discount. You have the social costs, the financial costs, or whatever. This is the big discount factor. But it's not like you can just bet it all on black and the house isn't going to win and take all your money, because it will. And no one's going to care about you. You're overseas. Your friends are all somewhere else, or you're going to give up a lot of friends coming here too, I'm telling you. And you're mostly going to be on your own. And not too many people are going to cry when you go down hard here, and a lot of guys do. Man, I see it all the time, and I don't like to do the fear mongering. Plenty of other channels do that stuff, but man, I've personally witnessed some ugly stories here. The ugliest of it I don't share on the channel. I don't feel it's appropriate, and I don't want to take it. I don't want to go down that road. But I've seen some stuff, man. Let me tell you, overseas in a poor country. You want to act recklessly? Oh, you can get yourself in a boatload of trouble. No problem there. If that's what you want, they got you covered. They're waiting for you. So be careful.
Bonus footage time.
Just little old Rob here pointing out the obvious. retirement is a solitary endeavor. If you're worried about losing your friends and stuff, I don't know what to tell you. By coming overseas, yeah. If you retire, you're gonna, unless you're, like I've said before, unless you're part of like the Corvette Club or a bowling club, or in Detroit we have, I guess, a really active and good. They say the Dodge Viper Club is really good, so call out to those guys. Thought seriously about buying a Dodge Viper. Almost bought one twice. Ultimately, it's such a crazy car and it's so expensive, and you'd see how I made my decision. This is basically a two-wheel Dodge Viper at a 70 or 80% discount that you can park anywhere, and is a far more visceral experience than you'll ever get from any four-wheel vehicle. I mean, nothing matches, you wearing the vehicle, wearing you. Nothing matches that experience. This makes a convertible feel like a living room. Back to my point, it's just little old Rob. I got Fawn backing me up, help me with everything, and her family provides a little kind of background of something warm and fuzzy, which is very nice and appreciated, and it's all great. And then I got my kids and my handful of close friends back home, and here I am washing my motorcycle by myself, and I'm happy. There's her super JD aunt. I won't leave her in the photo. I didn't realize she was going to be in there, but frustrating. The cow, my cow, Jai Pong Pooch, am I? Yeah, lady, the store owner did not understand at all when I was talking. And you'll get a Thai that does that. They're like, as soon as a foreigner starts talking, they're like, oh my God, aliens have attacked. Or, you're done. But it's frustrating. Fun was able to help me we're trying to buy wood. I want to buy wood for shelves. I mean, I want some freaking shelves. It's so hard. And then I designed a little simple counter / bar / eating area for my place, and it's really super simple. It's a romper room simple. Any idiot could build it. If I had my tools, I'd build it. But and I had a back, but I don't have any of those things. So ultimately, she was able to understand my drawing, which is labeled in Thai and has dimensions on it. It took a long time to understand that. Sometimes it's educational issues, and then. She sells wood, but didn't have a lot of wood. Everything she kept saying, my me doesn't have. So finally I'm like, let's look at the showroom. And I took photos of her own furniture and then said, I would like this. I would like, and then that she could do. Feels like I'm forgetting something, but an evil doctor in Bangkok took away my back brace. And he was not evil, but he said, I can't use it anymore. That's it. I got to be a big boy now. So fucking scary. But I'm going to really develop some core strength now, people. I'm going to do this right at the store. Let's see if I can do it. Bag of sandwiches, 1 liter bottle of Coke, sip bot, so 30 cents of ice, and the most important part, a bottle of Lau Khao. That's a 40% alcohol rice, like a white lightning that construction workers. It's a stereotype, but it's one of those ones that's true. They love it. $6. When they say it doesn't cost much to be nice, it's really true in Thailand. So I'm gonna go give this to the guys. They got a day off tomorrow, so they get drunk tonight. I just wanted to show this. Here are just some typical secondary roads that I drive on a regular basis. I'd love to show me on my motorcycle doing this, but that's completely unsafe, and I'm not gluing a camera to my brand new helmet. But you get the idea. I find this so colorful and interesting, and if you feel that way looking at this footage, then you too might be the personality type that could appreciate village or a less urban type of life or whatever. To me, I find this all really interesting and unstressful for some reason. I couldn't say why. I love it when I come back from the restroom and my cappuccino's waiting for me along with my little breakfast date. That ends another beautiful breakfast. Just watching the steps as I go down. 61, I now pay attention to stairs. They're no longer inconsequential. Beautiful restaurant though. I should come here more often. Sometimes I'll kind of, I'll film, I'll do some footage for 2 videos. A lot of times I do them 2 at a time. And then I'll film 2. and then I'll spend the next couple weeks editing both of those. So I've just spent the last few weeks editing, and now I'm back to filming. So hopefully there's always that concern that I'm out of the presenter mode or making content mode or whatever you call it. Channel's way up, so thank you everyone for that. Thank you for watching my YouTube video. If you've watched this far, please consider hitting like and subscribe.